So I had this idea about how I would make the introduction to this video on the hike, the Amatola, and what I didn't imagine was that the weather would be like this. But yeah, so it goes. Much better inside. Amatola Hike. Where can I start? It sells itself as the toughest hutted hike in the country. It's, I think, 105 kilometers. We'll see. Apparently there are some shortcuts and we might get lost in some places and walk longer, but let's call it 105 kilometers. It's 5 nights. As I said, it's a hutted hike. There's a lot of altitude gain on almost every day. And I think that's probably what makes the trail quite difficult. The longest day is about 22 kilometers. The shortest, I think, is 12. That's tomorrow, the first day. If you want to make your life a lot easier on the Amatola hike, then Dan is your man. Dan owns Away with the Fairies, the place that we stayed in Hogsback, the little village in the Eastern Cape, nearest to the Amatola trailhead. Dan will give you a really good briefing the evening before you start. He will drive you to the trailhead. He will even do the food drops to the various huts and light the donkey for you in the evening so that when you arrive you have hot water. Obviously all of these things are options, but I really do recommend Dan. He will also rescue you should you get into some kind of difficulty on the trail. I will leave Dan's contact details in the description below. The trail started out quite flat, very good conditions. Clouds coming and going, it threatened rain, but nothing actually ever happened. We were all quite cheerful as we started on the walk, helping each other over rivers and along the difficult sections, stopped for lunch. After about 5 kilometers though, the trail started heading up and it got proper steep and gave us some idea of what we were in for. As we walked, the weather got better and better, even as this trail got steeper. We had absolutely no idea what we were in for on day 2. end of the first day. We were told 12 Ks. I think on the GPS we got 13 or 14, and 750 meters of climbing. I think it was probably more like 800. After the storms last night at Hogsback, we were expecting rain today, and thank God that didn't happen. We started off in a little bit of drizzle, but it cleared up. We were mostly walking in indigenous forest, a lot of exposed roots, extremely slippery. And the first 3 or 4 Ks was pretty much level, and then it really got going, and it got really, really steep and slippery. But we've been training quite hard, and everybody seemed to cope quite well. The 3 people in the group that were new to us, that were put into the group with us, are a good mix for us. They're really nice people, and they fit in well. Everybody's cheerful. The food drop happened as it was supposed to. As we arrived, we lit the donkey, so we hope to have a hot shower shortly. How do I feel about the day overall? I think the most surprising thing is just how beautiful it is. We were thinking a lot about how hard it was going to be and how we'd be prepared and what food and all of the kind of logistical things. But the walk was absolutely spectacularly beautiful. The indigenous forests, all the trees, the little streams, the waterfalls, and the sun coming through. I hope some of the footage that I got shows that adequately. I'm not sure I did justice to it. Spent most of the day trying not to fall on my face, quite honestly. So tomorrow is a longer day. We walk on to the next hut. I'll do a little bit of a story about it tomorrow. I think it's about 18 kilometers, about the same amount of climbing, but we've got a little bit of ascending and descending tomorrow. So tomorrow, in terms of Amatola, is sort of a moderate day. So today 14, tomorrow I think about 18. I think about the same amount of climbing. Yeah. The huts, it's like a big Zozo hut. And it's kind of rustic. And mattresses, so it's not fantastic, but yeah, anyway, it's nice. It's not a tent, so it doesn't matter if it rains and so on. That's kind of how I would describe it. It's quite well located. It's just run down and a little bit like shabby. It's going to be nice to have a shower though, so as soon as the donkey gets the water hot, that's what I'm going to do. I'm busy preparing food, and it'll be an early night and then an early start tomorrow morning. Yeah. Day 1 of Amatola done. Really, really amazing. Really beautiful. Incredible area. not sure. Could be slippery. Don't stand in the middle. This dead tree on your left, Stephen. Let it go, James. Let it go.
Mostly I don't want to touch.
Want to go?
No, but I mean, sitting, you don't then automatically slide. You know what I mean?
No.
You kind of got to start sliding.
Well then. Right, so end of day 2. I'm recording at the end of the walk, afternoon. It's been absolutely shit, I have to say. we started out 45 minutes later than what we wanted to get going after a noisy night at the end of day 1, a noisy night because there were storms coming in. It was pissing with rain all night, lots of loud bangs and everything from outside. We got up in the dark at 5 o'clock, got ready, supposed to leave at 6, we ended up leaving at 6:45 in the pissing rain and the wind. Yeah, and it just carried on like that all day. 18 kilometers, undulating, up and down. Surface was mud, slippery, tree roots, more slippery, and rocks, super slippery. Wooden bridges, like somebody greased them. It was really a tough day. We didn't stop for lunch because we didn't find a place where it wasn't pissing with rain. The rain was coming in sideways. It was technical. It was unbelievably beautiful. That is a fact. I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary. And we all got through it. Everybody fell, I think. I fell several times sliding down banks. You'll see, I'm going to put the video together, but it's going to be of what today looked like. Right now, we've had something to eat. We've got the donkey going. In about an hour, we'll start to shower. This hut, I think, is better than Donsa. It's called better than Gwili Gwili, but yeah, it's shabby. I've got to be honest. It's run down. It's poorly maintained. It's pretty cuck. I'm not going to bother showing it. Actually, I just couldn't be bothered. But you'll see from the video what kind of a day it was. Maybe the wettest day of hiking I've had. I've had some pretty wet days in the Drakensberg, a wet day in Otter. We had even some rain and fish. It rained for 3 days walking around Mount Kailash in Tibet. I'm just thinking of all the wet hikes I've done. Pennine Way, yeah, and up in northern England, that also, yeah, we got rain there too. But yeah, this was just a shitload of rain. Fortunately, in the forest most of the day, and the times when we came out of the forest, it was probably worse. The rain was coming down sideways. In the forest, you had at least some protection from the wind. Tomorrow, day 3, is supposed to be the Queen stage, as it were, the longest day, 22 kilometers, the most altitude gain. So try and get some good sleep and hopefully be ready for it. And I hope tomorrow the weather's going to be a bit better. Let's see. I think it's perfectly understandable that we were nervous after day 2, and you can see that on our faces. We just didn't know what to expect. It was spitting a little as we got ready to leave in the morning, and we thought we were in for another day of rain, despite what the weather forecast had said. The first several kilometers of this walk were incredibly steep through a really dark and gloomy forest. Pretty, but dark and slippery, and altogether just a little bit ominous. It took us a while to get into the swing of things and to start enjoying the day.
There you go.
Yeah. On day 3, there's a split in the route at about the 15-kilometer mark. The difference between the two routes is the upper route, which is they call the Mordor route, is along a forestry road, very, very steep, but safe and easy walking. Whereas the other route is the more scenic routes. And some people say the highlight of the hike, but it's something to be avoided if it's raining or if the party is having difficulty with the technical sections. Because of the slipperiness of the trail, we were unsure which route we should take until we came to this little waterfall just before the split, and we really struggled over it and found it to be really dangerous. And this waterfall, as you can see us struggling here, is what really decided us, and when we hit the forestry road, we decided it wasn't a good idea to be taking the more scenic and more dangerous route. And there we were, 5 kilometers of forestry road, the same amount of altitude gain and the same distance as the lower, more dangerous route, but much safer. I was actually quite relieved to be on this road, honestly, and we'd spent so much time picking our way over difficult technical trails that it was something of a pleasure to be able to just stride along and chat and enjoy the last part of the day. Right, so that's the end of day 3 on the Amatola. It's the hardest day, what in cycling we would have called the Queen stage. About 1,000 meters of altitude gain, 20 kilometers of walking. Very, very greasy, slippery conditions, but no actual rain. When we left this morning, it looked like we might get bad weather. It was spitting a little bit. It was cold. I think the temperature average today was only 12. But no actual rain, and wind much less than yesterday. So conditions were much better than yesterday. So although today is supposed to be the hardest day, honestly, I think the hardest day was, for me so far, was yesterday with the pissing rain. We spent the first 15 kilometers mostly in indigenous forests, going up and going down, past spectacular waterfalls, past the most incredible trees, yellow woods and stink woods and I don't know what all kinds of trees, but absolutely exquisitely beautiful. But as I said, treacherous underfoot, roots, clay, slippery, rocks with moss. You had to literally watch every single foot. It was, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. The last 5 kilometers, we elected to take the forest road, which we were told is a little bit easier, and we were also told to stay off the lower path, which is more spectacular but more dangerous if it's greasy and slippery. And just before we hit that road, we went past a waterfall. We had to clamber up, and it was actually quite dangerous and slippery, and we decided, discretion being the better part of valor, we would trudge along a road that they call the Mordor route. You'll see I have some footage of it. Tomorrow is 14.5 kilometers, 500 meters of climbing, 1,000 meters of descent. Weather's supposed to be even better. I'm trying to remember what we call this hut. I can't remember, but it's I mean, these places are in shocking condition. They're absolutely appalling. The toilets are disgusting. It's they're in shocking state. But I guess it's shelter, so
Yeah, and the trail is exquisite. It's really an absolutely beautiful walk. So let's see what tomorrow brings.